Okay, welcome back to another one, guys. This is stage 4 of the Zwift Games 330 to 450 racing score category. Feeling pretty buoyant after last week's performance. I think I came 5th, just didn't quite have it at the end. So this is Piqui Pave. It's 31 kilometers, and as you can see, it's. I think last week was about 280 meters of climbing. I think this is 380 meters of climbing. Sorry, I'm still a little bit out of breath still, just got off the bike. And last week's stage was 6 kind of short, punchy climbs, which kind of suits me better generally. And as you can see from the topography in the top right-hand corner, this is, well, probably 75% of the climbing comes on these 2 big climbs. So the first one, about a third of the way in, about 10 kilometers in, and then at the end, we go up Petit Com, which is not as steep as any of last week's climbs. They're more drawn out and long, which is kind of suits me less, but we'll see how we go. We've got 53 people in the race. There is a plan again. The plan is to try and get up the first, the plan is to do whatever it takes to get to the top of the first climb with the front group. And if that means using the feather, if that means using up all my available energy and resources, then that's what I'm going to do, just to stay with the front group, because it's worth it. In an ideal world, I keep the feather and I save it for the last climb, but we'll just see how we go. I'm going to fast forward us to the action. Okay, about halfway to the first climb now. I think there's a few people that have maybe fallen off, maybe 3 or 4 people, but essentially the pack is still together, so there's about 50 people. And we're coming up to the section on the map, as you can see in the top right-hand corner, that they call Les Intestines, which is kind of very curvy, slightly undulated. It's not necessarily like a place where you're going to get dropped, but if you're not concentrating, all of a sudden you can find yourself at the back. So try my best to stay in the draft, try not to be at the front. But so far, so good. And once we get through this section, I actually don't like this section. It kind of makes me feel a bit poorly when you're looking at the screen, because there's so much turning going on there. You're just desperately trying to see the small undulations, as you can see from the top of the screen there, but nothing too drastic, and just trying to preserve energy really. But I'm going to fast forward us to the first climb. So just coming up to the first climb here, I think this is Ventoux half com, maybe I want to say, and it is essentially start the climb at the front. It's not super steep like any of last week's climbs. Start the climb at the front, try and look like I know what I'm doing, and do whatever it takes to stay with the front group, because even if you are completely spent at the top, you've got the downhill to recover, and if you're in that front group is full of the stronger riders in this group, and automatically, naturally, you are going to go faster in that group than the second group or the third group. So probably about a second faster every kilometre, probably. So by the end of the race, you're half a minute ahead. For some reason, I'm at the front here. I just thought it's such a shallow climb at this point that I just want to show that I'm strong. But then you can draft on this climb. I think you can draft, or get some benefit of the draft, up to 4%, I think. So I tuck in behind this couple of riders, Japanese riders, Sakayo and Jaffa, fellow Brit, and just sort of settle into a good rhythm. Ventoux half com this is. So I haven't done this one before, I don't think, but it doesn't look too aggressive at any point, but it is just a case of sticking to the front. Don't want to be at the front. Although actually I think a couple of times on the shallower section, so where there's a blue section coming up on the climb, I think a lot of people ease off on the flat, whereas I try and keep a steady pace the whole way, and that often leads me to go to the front. So I can't remember if I actually do possibly go to the front here, but also I think every time you sort of drift to the front on a climb, it kind of puts pressure on people, because they think, oh, he looks strong, so it kind of induces a reaction of people sometimes. So just a nice steady climb, about halfway up now. And there's a few people, as you can see on the leaderboard, there's people that are falling behind by 1 second, 2 seconds. And a lot of those people will get back on. They'll be absolutely fine and they'll be in the front group. However, they are, in my opinion, more tired than me. So that is a good sign. So these people that are 1 or 2 seconds behind, they're hanging on. A lot of people have already used their feather. I've still got mine. The plan is okay. If I need to use it here on these kind of steeper orange sections, then I will. But I think, yeah, the blue sections, that's the top of the hill. So it is only about a 5-minute effort on this, I think. But we're doing okay. As long as I could, it was very much, I just was staring at the back of the rider in front of me and just kind of, this guy popped his feather, he's finding it too much. But I'm feeling okay. Heart rate 175. It's a managed effort, and although I'm suffering slightly, if I'd rather be suffering at the front than another 3 or 4 seconds back. So we're currently 6th out of 50 odd people, and yeah, and now I can see the top of the hill. I'm thinking, this is great. I'm going to get to the top of this hill with a feather. And automatically, if I can get to the top of this hill with a feather, you've got a big downhill, you've got a very small com, kind of 3/4 of the way to the end, which is aqueduct com reverse, I think, which is not much. And then you've got petit com. If I can save the feather for that last final climb, then a lot of people have already used their feathers now. So out of this group of 10, 12, 15 people at max, I would say half of them have already used their feathers. So automatically, that's going to put me probably in the top 7 or 8 people in this race already to finish. I think I will be. Someone off the front here is Jaffa, just getting the super tuck on. Super tuck is where you just get a really sort of super aerodynamic position. I can't remember what the parameters are. I think you have to be going over 60 kilometres and there has to be at least downhill. Is it 4% or something? I can't remember. But it's very aero. And okay, so this is the group now. And it seems like we've got a bit of a lead on the second group that are kind of 13 seconds behind, and that's where we want to be. You want to be in this front group. And I'm going to fast forward us a little bit now. Right, settling in with this front group, we've now got about 17 seconds on the second group. However, got caught napping here a little bit. We're going into a cobbled section here now, which increases running resistance. And somebody is starting to push off the front a little bit, and the group's becoming strung out. And I think if the group's going to split, I want to be in the front. So I put in a little dig just for 5 or so seconds just to get me back on. And because this is, I don't want to come this far over halfway now, done the difficult bit, the first difficult bit, and then to get dropped on a flat bit would seem silly just through not concentrating. So here we are back at the front on the cobbles and just happy. I think the group is now back together actually, but we've got about 26 seconds, 24 seconds on the second group. It's not insurmountable for them to come back, but you just feel like it would take so much effort to get back on before the climb that you'd just be completely cooked if you were in that second group. So I'm kind of feeling like this is the race right here. The winner is in the pack of this pack of people. And what is it, 15, 20 people at most? It's where I want to be. So we are going to just fast forward to, if you look in the top right-hand corner, we've got the big climb at the end, and there's sort of little micro climb. And I'm just going to take us to there. So only got about 7.8 kilometres left, and we're just coming up to, I think it's Aqueduct Com or Aqueduct Com Reverse, which is like, it's barely a climb at all, but it's one of those where if you're feeling tired, this is going to feel awful. It's very short. It's like a 45-second effort, really. And I'm thinking there's going to be another attack like there was on the cobbles. So I'm going to preempt this, and I'm actually going to, I use the word attack in quotation marks, but I'm going to be at the front of this climb. Not because I'm trying to attack or go from this far out. I don't think I'm capable of that, but I want to put pressure on people, because if you're feeling really tired, this is exactly what you don't want right now. You want to be conserving energy for that big climb. So I decide to just put in not a really super strong effort, but just enough to get me to the front, and then enough just to stretch it out and just put a little bit of pressure on people that are feeling tired, because I'm feeling pretty good at this point. And it works. So as we're going up this little climb, you'll see that on the leaderboard that people start to fall behind by 1-2 seconds. And 1 or 2 seconds doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're going uphill and you're tired, it seems like an enormous distance. And those people that have fallen off 1 or 2 seconds behind are now having to put in a real effort to get back on. And they will get back on. Some of them are 3 seconds behind now. They will get back on, but you've just spent some of their energy that they were hoping to keep for the big climb at the end. So a little bit of tactics from me there. Didn't want to get caught napping, so decided to push the pace myself a little bit up that one, knowing that it's only a short effort. I did this a few days ago, and I identified it as a place of maybe just stretching the legs ever so slightly to put pressure on people. I'm feeling good. Heart rate's around 162, and I'm feeling pretty good, and I'm ready for this final climb. And let's go to it. Let's see how we do. Okay, here we go. This is the race right here. So we've done 45 minutes, 28 kilometres, and this is Petit Com, last climb, last bit of the day, last 2.7 kilometres. Starts off quite nice and shallow. It's a draftable climb, so I'm getting myself in behind Robertson, and I'm going to try and stick to whoever's at the front like glue. Still got the feather. I know a lot of people won't have that, and so that gives me automatically quite a big advantage on this last climb. I've made it this far, and I've got it. So the idea, I don't quite know when to... I did this climb the other day, and I don't really know when to use the feather. It really depends on what position I am in the pack. I would like to save it for as late as possible, but if I feel like I'm struggling on one of the sort of darker orange sections, then I will pop the feather. I shouldn't struggle on these lighter yellowy sections because I've got good enough power to stay with people, but on the darker orange sections, the lighter riders are going to start to have a bit more of an advantage over me. Keep the feather as long as possible, pop it when I need it. Last week I popped it too late, and it almost... If I could have popped it a bit earlier, I might have had the momentum. And I always think that on climbs, pressure is a really good thing. So applying pressure to people around you, making it look like making it look easy, is so disheartening to people around you. So I should have popped it earlier last week. I've learned my lesson for this week. When I need it, I will go. So in a nice little position here at the moment. I've slowed the action down to real time just for this last bit. I've got 2 kilometres left. And I thought maybe somebody was going to go like really early here, and which I was going to struggle with, but nobody did, which is fine. I'm happy just to settle into this climb and then just unleash hell at the end. If my heart rate's not over 190, and if I'm not dry heaving by the end of this, then I haven't worked hard enough. So no doubt at 175 beats a minute, there's a little bit more room for me to go, but at the moment I'm happy just to stick to Jaffa. Jaffa's been at the front a lot of this race, actually. Kudos to you. K Mongjar, you are a very good climber. I struggled to keep up with you. Marsland, yes, saw your name. Hammert, yes, saw you. Hammert time. But here we go. It's a little brief reprieve there where it just kind of flattened out. And then this is the group here. So you can see there's probably about, 10 of us? And people are starting to fall back now. 1 second, 3 seconds, 16 seconds. So top 10's looking likely. Maybe even podium. I was disappointed to not get a podium last week. I came 5th in the end. Just didn't quite have the minerals. Done a couple of rides this week. Like I said, did some race recon, watched a couple of really good YouTubers, and then I did another course. What was it? I think Casse Pats, where you do this climb. And I practiced this climb, and I identified kind of where I wanted to drop the feather if possible. My PB for this, is 6 minutes 9. It's on the left there. And then the other day I did it in 6 minutes 20. I'd love to go below 6 minutes, but I don't think I'm going to need to here because this is reasonably gentle at the moment. I mean, we're all tired because we've been cycling for over 45 minutes. So it's unlikely that I'm going to get a PB on this today, but that's not really the point. And I'm in a good position, actually, as it stands. People are starting to fall back, and I saw that rider behind me, Costa, just start to flag, and I just tried to apply a bit more pressure here. I've got a steep section coming up. I can't remember if I used my feather or not. I possibly did, but I can't quite remember. We're doing okay, still in 7th. That rider on the front, that's K Mongjar. Seem to have really good power, really good watts per kilo, nearly pushing over 6 watts per kilo at the moment, which I can't really compete with, but I'm doing my best, and I can feel these 2 guys next to me, Roberts and Jaffa. I think I've got the better of them now because they're starting to crack and I've still got my feather. And I think it's here where I think I need to do the feather because I'm falling off here and I'm going to struggle to keep up with Hammett, who's also got a feather. It looks like K Mongjar hasn't got a feather, potentially, which is fine, but I'm trying my best. I think I'm mainly seated here, still not out the saddle. I just was trying to manage my effort as best I could. Sticking to Hammer, we've still got 800 metres, which doesn't sound like very far, but as you can see from the map at the top, there's still quite a lot of climbing to go. So yes, the rider behind me is now 4 seconds behind, so it looks likely that I'm going to get a podium position, which is awesome. 186 beats a minute at the moment. It's this little section here which I find I'm really good at, because people are tired and it starts to flatten out a bit. And so I think I start to lay down a little bit more power here, because I always seem to reel people in here. Hammert's getting away from me now, which I'm feeling a bit sad about, but all of a sudden I'm feeling like maybe I'm starting to reel them back in. Kamong Jar, if you look at the screen on the right hand side, they're doing 0 watts per kilo. I think they must have had some sort of mechanical breakdown. I'm cutting the corner a little bit. Kamong Jar, I think, is out. They've had what an awful time to have your internet drop out on you, but I can't worry about that. It still says I'm third, so I don't quite know what that means. But Hammert is really going for it, and we've only got 300 metres and I haven't got the feather and I'm struggling. But all of a sudden it feels like maybe I'm reeling in Hammert, and I'm doing around the same watts per kilo. And I think it's around here that I think, oh, you've got to go for it, man. You've got to just empty the tank. You've got 200 metres left. It's going to hurt. You might well be sick, but just get up out the saddle, cut this corner to the left and just go for it. You've got to. So I'm kind of in the saddle, out the saddle. I'm past Hammer. I can't believe it. Shortest route, cut the corner, and there is the finish line. I'm looking at the screen. I'm looking at Hammer. I can see they're doing less watts per kilo than me. And that's how you do it. I can't believe it. That is probably the best victory I've had. I never, ever would have thought that I'd be winning a race with over 370 metres of climbing. So that's awesome. It feels slightly shallow. I feel like Kamong Jar would have probably got that if they hadn't have had their internet drop out. But also, there's nothing I can do about that. You just have to race your race. And, you know, whether I'd have come first, second or third, it was a really good performance. Really pleased with myself. Felt awful after this one. Just trying to not be sick. But yeah, awesome. Loved that. It's been coming. I've been getting better and better since my injury. And last week I felt like it was coming. I nearly put it together. A month ago I'd have said I would never be winning a race with over 300 metres of climbing. But sometimes the only limitations are the ones you put on yourself, hey? Right, get that on a t-shirt. Right, thanks for watching. See you next week for stage 5. Thank you.